Our next stop is a school well experienced with the power of community partnerships and service learning opportunities. This is the Hood Canal Institute, part of the science program at North Mason High School. Its sole focus, science education. Its classroom, the wetlands, streams, and forests along the inland waters of Washington State.
So we're going to ask that if you did environmental explorations this week and you want credit for it, you make sure you signed it in, but you also fill out this form, everybody in each group.
Karen Lippy teaches grades 9 through 12. Just outside her classroom is a natural laboratory where students measure and analyze everything from the number of bugs to the growth and survival of oysters.
Oyster number 1. Yeah.
Most of our activities that we do with the students are not textbook driven, they're project driven. I don't think we're at a point anymore in our society where we can keep students with all of the world that's at their fingertips from technology and information stuffed in those classrooms to just stay away. I think we need to let them out and let them be participating in the community.
HCI students tackle science projects throughout the year. Students take soil samples, they monitor water quality, classify and count critters. They're learning science by truly wading into their environment.
Yep.
And they're a willing workforce for certain community partners.
Some of the lasting impacts for our organization is we get to have some data collected that we normally wouldn't have the manpower and the time to get to.
Matt Korb is with the Hood Canal Salmon Enhancement Group. The group does salmon habitat restoration and it conducts long-term studies of the environment. It has partnered with Karen and HCI several times over the years. When Matt and his colleagues need field data, Karen's students often go get it.
Our organization has worked with Hood Canal Institute for long enough that any hesitation and concerns have long been disproven. A lot of people have concerns with volunteers and high school students and data quality and things like that, but a little bit of design can go a long way. Lots of environmental field work can be done by anyone that's trained properly, and this is a great example of being able to both give some people some experiences they would have never had and use that extra manpower and energy to our benefit.
You have to have partners that are open to the idea of working with students, and schools are very foreign places for most people.
6th one is rush, disticalis, and dead rush. 7th one.
Karen isn't shy about making meaningful commitments to community partners. These students are doing a field survey of a saltwater marsh. The Salmon Enhancement Group needs the baseline information students will provide.
7 dead rush.
We will be conducting a restoration further up in the Union Estuary and have this as a background data set that we can compare some of the changes that occur after that project will be tremendously valuable to us.
We're doing this to develop where the distinct lines are of where the saltwater meets the freshwater, and we're doing it to determine which plants can grow in what content of salt in the water.
26 points.
The salt marsh study is a prime example of the type of project Karen looks for when partnering with the community. If an organization just needs labor, Karen isn't afraid to say no. The work students do must have meaning, and it must address standards.
5th one.
We look for where is the learning in this event, and we document it. We say this is what we want the students to learn. And as a whole, we have identified what are the Washington State standards that we're addressing. So there are standards that are being addressed. Many of them are in the critical thinking areas.
To start this project, we sat in the classroom for 2 days and we're like, okay, this is what we have to do. And then when we had to actually come out here and do it, it took a lot of work.
Karen had her kids build the initial data sheet and the basis of the study and then bounced it off of me, and they'll be performing all the analysis and developing their own spreadsheets and organization of data.
It all has to be repeatable. They have to be able to do it again. And so it was really challenging for us and ours because it has to be constant no matter what.
There's an outside entity that you are producing something for. There's a different vision. It becomes real. For them to go out in the community, they get to see how the world works and doesn't, which is where a lot of the learning comes in.
The Hood Canal Institute is admittedly unique. Its environment, its curriculum, its mission. But believe it or not, HCI's first product for a community partner wasn't scientific field data. It was a public service poster. Those early connections grew from there by matching community needs to what students can provide.
Check your assets first. Your facility, your building, your situation. If your community needs something, it's looking for those things. And if you have a good match, you'll know it. and it will be obvious that, gee, this is something we could provide and they need it. Start small, and it's much more difficult to start those partnerships. You have to build relationships. You have to be working with people one-on-one and communicating. You need time. It really is about having to have the time as a teacher to take away and meet those people. But once you have partnerships, other people want to play, and they come to you. So what are some of the benefits to kids? In general, we do see the students, their level of empowerment, the fact that they've done something important, shows up as a recurring theme. They really enjoy doing something that matters. Most of our young people are very passionate about making a difference in their communities. Service learning and projects bring out that ownership and that holistic idea that I did something, I did all the parts of it, I produced something of value, I matter.